Hey friends, welcome back to another video. My name's Lefebvre, and I know it's August, but we missed July's birth month flower tutorial due to our 31 days of watercolor practice. So we're gonna get on that right now and paint a water lily. So let's jump in and get started. Okay friends, today we are working on July's birth month flower. I know it is August, but with our 31 days of watercolor this past July, I didn't get the chance to do it, so I thought I would do it now. So I have painted July's birth month flower, the delphinium, in the past. It is on my channel under the birth month flower playlist, which you can always take a look at. But we're going to be doing July's other birth month flower, which is a water lily that I've never actually painted on my channel. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I am going to be painting in my Etcher Lab cold press watercolor sketchbook. It's just the white cover one. I love these sketchbooks. I have my Shinhan watercolors, two brushes, a size 8 and a size 2 round, and I'm going to start by sketching it out with my pencil first. So we're going to do a bit more of a detailed version of this, where we're going to be doing some blending and gradients on each petal. If you guys watched my 31 days of watercolor practice, this is definitely one of the techniques that we practice, so you should be good, and we're ready to go. If you are not one to draw, if you become a member of my Patreon for as little as $3 a month Canadian, you get all tracing pages that go along with any tutorials where I require sketching. Obviously, I'm going to teach you how to sketch it first, but if you don't like sketching, if that's not your strong point, I do provide tracing images on my Patreon, along with tons of other bonus content that is available nowhere else, and all my YouTube videos ad-free. So there's just a little Patreon plug there for you. Okay, so to start, I am going to just give myself a guide, a little reference guide. I'm going to do kind of like this, not quite a circle, but a little bit of an oval shape. So not a long oval, but more of think of a bowl shape like this. And I'm going to go light, but a little bit darker than I would recommend for you. I want you to sketch as light as you can so you don't see the pencil mark underneath your watercolor. I will try to go darker though, but I'm just giving myself a guide of how I want the flower to look. And sometimes I feel doing a shape like this really helps. And then I'm just going to give myself an idea of where the center is going to be, where we're going to see some of those little like yellow stamen bits, just to give myself a little bit of a guide. Okay, now I'm going to start. So all the petals are coming from the bottom of this bowl. Remember, if you did watch the 31 days, everything comes right through the middle. It all connects right through the base. So all the petals are going to be coming right from this base part here. So the first one's going to come up. We're going to do kind of like a U shape, like this. And it's just going to come up to a slight point, like that. Okay, it's like a U, and then kind of a point, not too pointy, like that. There's our first petal. Then I'm going to do two more kind of in the front here. These are going to be a little bit more of a side view, like this. Now it doesn't have to be perfect. Again, if sketching is not your strong point, don't worry too much. Just basic kind of petal shapes are going to work. I'm going to do one to that side, one to this side. Okay, these are petals that have kind of fallen down. Again, connecting right back to this base area. Then I'm going to leave a little space between this petal and this petal. And I'm going to go up kind of like on an angle and come back down. I'm going to do another one over to this side. Like that. Okay. Then I'm going to do two more in between this petal. So they're kind of staggered. They're never like touching side by side. There's always going to be a petal kind of in between. So I'm going to go like this, like that, and a petal right there. Okay. Then I am going to go for one last petal in the front before we do the part that you don't really see, the center kind of stamen of the flower. Then I'm going to start doing some in between here. So these ones are going to be a bit more of a side view. So they're going to kind of come up and then curve down. And you can even do an extra little curve. So it's like you're seeing the inside of the petal here. Like that. And we're just going around this bowl shape, kind of using that as a guide. Okay, I'm gonna just erase this little oval in the middle here. And I'm gonna start placing some kind of like little, they're like long ovally center bits, just like this. They don't have to be neat or tidy, just kind of like little squiggles, like that. Okay, then I'm gonna do a petal kind of coming up behind here. A petal coming up behind here. And then we're just gonna place another one in the middle here. In the middle of these. Middle here. We'll do another one. You're kind of just going in between. So here's two petals, one kind of goes over top. Here's two petals, one's going to kind of go over top. The ones to the side are going to be more like flat on this side and curved, and then you can do a little extra curve. So it's like you're seeing the inside of it. And then I'm just going to have one more petal kind of coming out this way, like it's fallen, like a curve, like think of a banana shape almost. And then I'm going to kind of come back in. So it's like we're seeing the inside of that. Like that. And I'm going to do one more down here, like it's kind of curved. And this one is a lot more flat because it's kind of coming at us. And I'm just going to do a little scoop there, like that. And if you wanted to do another one back here, you could, or even here, like that. Okay, and there we have our kind of basic shapes for the water lily. I'm going to erase some of that initial oval marks that we did. And then I'm going to use my kneaded eraser, which I love, to actually don't really like this petal here. I feel like it's too big and awkward. I'm going to erase that. You can always erase, guys, the amount of times that I erase things, like I'm not showing it right now, but when I've done this a few times, like I erase so much. So if you feel like you're having to go back and erase and fix and do all that, do it. It happens. I do it all the time. So don't feel like you're like, I can't draw. Just try and see what looks good and what you like. I'm going to make this a little bit more flat, I think. Like it's coming a bit more like that. There we go. Okay, that's kind of what I like. Again, the tracing image will be on Patreon if you would like that. Okay, then I don't really want a lot of my pencil marks showing underneath. So what I like to do is I like to erase my my image so you only see a light version of it. I'm not going to erase it too much because I want you guys to be able to see. But if I was doing this for like an actual piece I wanted to hang up or give away, I would make it so light that you don't see much. Okay. I mean, if you do see pencil marks underneath your drawing, that's fine. It's just once you paint with watercolor on top, you will not be able to erase underneath. Okay, so now for this particular kind of style that we're doing, you need to work on one petal at a time. And if you worked with me through the 31 days, all we're going to be doing are kind of like gradients from dark to light. The base of the petals are going to be the darkest, the tips are going to be the lightest. So let me try with my size 8, see how it feels. If it feels too big, I might switch it. But I'm just going to start by taking a little bit of pink. Actually, I have some pink up here. A really light wash of pink. Okay, so see how it's nice and light? And I'm going to go over one petal at a time. So I'm going to start with this petal in the middle. Like so. Now I see a little bit of a pool here. See how it's a little bit darker here? It's a little bit of a pool. I'm just going to tap off my brush on my paper towel a bit and just move the water around so it's evenly distributed. Then I'm going to go back in with a little bit more darker pink. And I'm going to tap around the bottom. So this is just like that tulip we did during my day 22 live, my birthday live. I'm going to take a little bit. So I don't have a lot of paint and I don't have a lot of water on my brush. You can even just tap it on your paper towel a bit. I'm going to do some lines. This is all still wet. And I'm just going to do some lines kind of coming back to the base here. Just dragging it back. Again, tap it on my paper towel just so I can blend it out a little bit. And when we're blending like this, the key is to not use a lot of pressure with your brush. You want it just like skimming the surface. Okay, so that applies enough color without lifting any color. Now, I'm just using permanent rose right now. If I wanted to make it look like there's a shadow kind of at the bottom, like it's darker, I would create a shadow color. Now, if you go back to color theory, the way I love to create shadow colors are using its contrasting color. So pink derives from red, so its contrasting color is green. To create a shadow color of that, I would just take a dark green, mix it a bit with my pink, and it makes a darker, shadowy pink. And I just like to place that at the bottom so it looks a little bit deeper. Okay, and I'm going to leave it. I want it fairly on the light side. Okay, now I'm going to work on another petal, but it can't be touching this one because it's wet. If I work on one that's right beside it, it's going to bleed into that wet petal, and then it's going to cause some funky marks, and it's not ideal. So we're going to work on another petal, really light wash of pink that's not touching that first one. So apply your color. Make sure it's not like pooling in any areas. So I'm just going to tap my brush off, make it evenly wet, grab some more pink, and I'm going to tap it towards the bottom of the petal. Tap it on my paper towel a bit just to take off some excess water. I'm going to start to move it up a bit, like that. Tap it on my paper towel again, just blend it out, really light pressure. I'm going to take some more of that shadowy pink. So I'm just going to mix a little bit more. So I'm using my shadow green just because it's already a dark green, mixing it with pink. And I'm just going to tap this shadow color at the bottom. Like that. Okay, then I'm going to work on another petal that's also not touching. Start with your light wash. And this is all it is, honestly. With detailed flowers, it just takes a bit more time than anything. But it's actually kind of nice because it can be kind of relaxing. You just go slow, one small petal area at a time. So you're not rushing. And you're just going at your own pace. Tap my brush off and just kind of always tap your brush off on your paper towel. That takes off any excess pigment and water. Helps with water control. And just again, just gently blending it together, grabbing my shadow color again. And if you notice, I did not dip my brush in my water at all. Okay, I'm not adding any more water. I'm just taking a little bit more pigment, and I'm not even taking my whole brush and doing it. I'm just taking little bits onto the tip of my brush. Again, that also helps with water control. I'm not applying a lot of water and paint to my brush when I'm picking up color. Okay, that helps and makes a huge difference. Okay, light wash again. I'm going to go for one back here. Let's go around the center. So this one only might be a little bit tricky because you have to go around these little areas. So I would spend some time. Okay, so here's my tip for this. When we are trying to go around smaller areas like this, to make sure that they're not being painted on, because those are going to be yellow after, it's going to take a little bit of time, right? So if we spend too much time, you're going to risk having the area that you're painting dry out quickly, which means you won't be able to go back and add your darker color in while it's still wet. So for this, I actually use a lot of water. These are all pools right here. There's quite a bit of water that I just laid down. And the reason why I do that is so it stays wet longer. And then once I've gone around all those delicate little areas with tons of water, I just start pushing it up. So then it's an even amount of water. And if there's any pools now, I would tap my brush off and just distribute the water nice and evenly, go right back into my dark pink. And it's actually quite easy to add the darker color around because the paint wants to flow wherever there's water, right? It's going to go right in between those cracks a little bit more effortlessly because we already put water there. Just going to move it up a bit. It's a little too dark. I'm going to tap it off with my paper towel and just blend it out. Again, if it's still too dark, just take off some more of that pigment, blend it up, really light pressure. Like that. And then grab your shadow color, and that should still be wet. So I'm just tapping in a little bit of that shadow. I'm going to create a little bit more shadow color. Tap off your brush just to make sure it's not too wet. And tap in that darkness right at the base. Now it looks like there's kind of a line here. It's not blended that well. So I'm just going to wash off my brush a bit, tap it on my paper towel. Really light pressure, just blend it out. Okay. And there we go. Let's do the other one. Same kind of thing. So I'm going to take quite a bit of water on my brush. And if you need to use a smaller brush, if that's easier, do that. So there's quite a bit of water on my brush right now. It's not dripping, but it's full of water in the bristles. And I'm just trying to delicately go around these little stamen parts that we're going to be painting yellow after. Okay. Quite a bit of water, leaving little puddles. Like, I don't know if you can see that up close. They're little puddles. Just helps it to stay wet longer. Now I'm just moving it all around evenly. Okay. A little bit of pink. Tap it into those wet parts. Let it bleed and move. Kind of blend it upwards. I'm going to grab that shadow color. I really need to just mix some more so I have it ready. Tap it in. Dry off my brush a bit and blend it out. Okay, so that's all there is to it. Now, if you keep going like this for every single petal, what's going to happen is the base of each petal is going to be a beautiful contrast against the tips of all the other petals, which is going to show that separation between the two. So you want to make sure that the base of your petals are darker and the tips are lighter. Okay, because that's what's going to cause the separation and show depth. Now, if you go back to a petal and it's dried completely and it just doesn't look like there's enough shadow in there, what you can do, make sure it's completely dry. Take some clean water on your brush. Clean water, I said. Wet the whole thing again. And then just take your shadow color and tap it into the bottom. And just create a little bit more shadow. But you have to go over the whole petal with water first, because if you only go where the shadow area is, there's going to be a blunt line because the color wants to travel where there's water. So if it stops abruptly, it's only going to stop like halfway and then it won't look as good. You want a nice even blend, so wet the whole petal. Okay, so I'm not going to go through every single petal with you because that would take forever. But this is the basic of how to do this. So I'm going to do this and speed it up so you guys can watch how it finishes. Again, just make sure that you are painting beside a petal that is not wet. Okay, so they're not touching if they're still wet. And then we'll do the center and that will be it. Okay, and then before I just finish this up, so it's all coming together, the petals that are folded, I'm gonna start by going over them in our light wash, but obviously the parts that would be folded up would be a little bit different. So I am going to start by just adding a light wash to each of these. Okay, and then we're gonna let them completely dry, and I will show you how we will kind of show that fold in them. So these 3 petals here, really light wash of our pink, and then we will come right back once it is dry. Okay, so now that it's dry, we're gonna have to do the same kind of gradient thing, but just on the separate part. So let's look at this one. So the part that's inside is actually gonna be darker. So I'm actually gonna fill in this part, the inside of the petal, with our medium pink. Then I'm gonna take our shadow color and I'm gonna tap it towards the base where it's meeting the other petal. And then a little bit here on the fold. Like that, and I'm just gonna blend it. So wash and dry off my brush, really light pressure, and just kind of blend out those hard edges. Whenever you're going back, make sure you tap off your brush on your paper towel so you're not going in with a lot of paint or water on your brush. So you can get a nice blend with some really light pressure, like that. Okay, and then we'll come back to this part when this part is dry. So let's do the same thing over here, going in with a bit more of our like medium pink, then our shadow color, we could even make this mostly like the shadow color inside if you wanted to. You could make it even a little bit darker. Right at the bottom here, like that. I'll wash off my brush a bit, dry it, and just kind of blend that out. Okay, and then the same thing with this one, the inside. With our medium pink. Grab our shadow color, tap it mostly towards the base. Like that. Just gonna blend it a bit better. And then we're gonna wait for those to dry. While they're waiting for it to dry, since this is all dry over here, we can take our yellow, just a regular yellow, and add some yellow to those center squiggly bits. Like that. Might take a darker yellow too, like some yellow ochre. Just add a little bit of darker yellow at the base of them. Like that. Okay, and then this one is already dry. You don't need to do too much to this one. I might just take a little bit of like our medium pink and apply it to the bottom here. Wash and dry off my brush and just kind of blend it up. Just so it's like slightly darker on the bottom here. Or you can just go over the whole thing with our clean water, and then tap in your medium pink at the bottom here so it blends nicely. You can even do just like little lines like that. But you want it a little bit lighter than the inside of that petal. Same thing with this one. Just gonna add a little bit of shadow at the base here. Kind of blend it up. And just make it a little bit darker at the base, like that. But still lighter than the inside. Like that. And then this one, I would just add a little bit more darkness at the bottom here. And that's it. And there is our water lily. So if you want to leave it like that, you can. If you want to take a really light wash of your pink and just give a little bit of texture to some of your petals, you can always do some little kind of like lines. Just curved lines on some of the petals so it looks like there's some folds, a little bit of texture. But it's totally up to you what you want to do. You can always just leave it. And that's it. So that is our July birth month flower, the water lily. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you soon for our August one. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you liked it, and I hope you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and follow me on all my other platforms for tons more content. Have a great day, guys. Bye.